Hello, in this video we're going to talk about the Gecko control panels. We have two types of panels. There's a 1 pump and a 2 pump, and I'll show you the difference. So let's get started. Okay, as you can see here on this one, this is a 2 pump panel. Obviously here's your up and down button for your temperatures. Temperature up or down. Now you're going to see pump number 1. Pump number 1 is a 2-speed pump. Low speed, once you push it once, you go into low speed. Push it again, and you're going to go into high speed. Every time there's a demand for heat, or you're on filter cycle, this will automatically come on low speed. Okay? Here's pump number 2. This is just strictly high speed, on and off. Okay? Now we've got the lights. You push it once, you're going to come onto a single light. Not a single light, but a single color. Whatever the last color was before you turned it off, that's the color that's going to come on. You want to change colors, you hit the button once and then you keep repeating hitting it, and it changes the colors. It'll go through the color wheel, individual lights. Once you get to the purple, you hit it, then it'll go into the color wheel and it'll just wheel by itself. As soon as you hit the button again to turn it off, that last color is what's going to come on when you hit the button to turn it back on. Okay, now as you notice that the light function here is going to act as two things: the lights, like I just explained, and also the mode. When you push the lights and you hold it down for a few seconds, you'll see filter cycle 1, and then you can also scroll to filter cycle number 2 using the mode button. So mode, you push it down, hold it. It's going to come to your filter cycle 1 as 1 hour. You want to increase that, you just push the plus button. Then you push the mode button again, you'll go to filter cycle number 2. As long as it's flashing, you can scroll back and forth between filter cycle 1 and 2, and also the Fahrenheit through Celsius. Okay? Now when it comes to you from the factory, filter cycle 1 will be on 1 hour, filter cycle 2 will be on a half an hour. If you're using ozone, I would definitely recommend to increase that. You want to have at least 3 hours on 1 and maybe 2 hours or 3 on number 2. You want to get as much filtration you can through ozone. When you have ozone, the better off you're going to be. Okay? So now, when we power up, it's going to go through its diagnostics check. You're going to see a bunch of icons on here. First one's going to be smart winter mode. That one is going to be for freeze protection. When that comes on, you're going to know that the tub has dropped its temperature below the 80-degree setting, and it's now going to be kicking on the low speed and jet pump, low speed jet pump, and the heater to get that temperature back up. You also see the heaters icon, filtration icon, and the set temperature icon. Okay, let's plug it in. As you can see, it's doing its diagnostic checking. There's the smart winter mode, heat, filter cycle, and set temperature. Now it's running through a diagnostic checks. This is normal function. Okay, so as you can see now, you have the actual water temperature displayed, which is 98. The filter's on, it's filtering, and also the heat is on. It's your heat and your filtration, 98. The set temperature was 100 degrees. So you can see now there's the set temperature button telling you that's 100 degrees. So since the water's 98, that's the actual temperature, it's now trying to heat up the water. Now we're going to go into the mode button, and we're going to go into filter cycles. Now remember, filter cycle 1 is going to be set at 1 hour from the factory, and it's going to be set for a half an hour, filter cycle number 2 from the factory. So I'm going to push the light button down and hold it. There's our filter cycle 1. I can drop it down in increments of a half an hour or up. Okay? I push the mode button again. There's filter cycle 2. I can increase it or decrease it. Now I'm going to hit the mode button again. That's Fahrenheit to Celsius, if I want to go Celsius, or if I want to go Fahrenheit. Okay? Now I'm going back. This is just telling you your icons, which is I'm calling for heat. My set temperature is above 98. That's my actual temperature. And the filter cycle is on. You can see that's my set temperature. Stop blinking. Now if I want to go down below my set temperature to let it cold, the heater went off, and that was this is my new set temperature, 94. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to talk about partial lock and full lock. So a partial lock is like a temperature lock. You can lock out the temperature, so nobody can turn it up or down. Then the full lock is you're going to lock out the entire panel. So in order to do that, you're going to hit the plus and minus button and hold it down, and then you're going to get into what you'll see. That's a partial lock. So right now I have it just the temperature locked out. So if I try to push my temperature button, it's locked. I can't do anything. So if I want to get out of that, I'm going to push it down and hold it. And now it's unlocked. Now I can change my temperature. Now if I want to lock out the entire panel, I push and I hold it, and I just hold it. Okay, and I keep holding it. Keep holding it. Now there's the full lock. Everything is locked out now. You can't turn the pump on or off or temperature. Everything's locked out. Now unlock it, same thing, plus and minus, and hold it down. And now I'm unlocked. Now I can run my high-speed pumps, so on and so forth. So that's how you partial lock is like a temperature lock. Full lock is the entire panel's locked out. Now one more thing too, I'll tell you about the lights. Now remember, the lights, you push it once, you have the last light that was on before, you turned it off, so that comes back on. Then you push the lights, sequencing them, you go individually through all the different colors, blue, red, right? And once you get to the purple, you're going to hold it there, and that'll go into the color wheel. Now as the color wheeling through, you find you like red or whatever, you can push it on that color red, it'll go off, push it back again, red will come back on. Or you can sequence them individually by just keep hitting the button. You can go through the colors one by one. So now we have a two-pump system, which is going to be the relay and the rhythm only. Now when this one's a little different. What happens is when you start up, you're going to see the temperature, you're going to see the clock, which you have to set the clock, and then if it's in economy mode, you're going to see this for economy mode. You can enable economy mode through the sub-menus. Okay, if it's not in economy mode, you will not see the ECO, so you only get temperature. You won't see this, you'll just get temperature and time. Okay, so let's start it. We're going to go and have to adjust the clock first. So we're going to push and hold it, the mode button, and you're going to see that's your hours. Okay. Now one thing you have to be aware of is that little tiny dot there represents AM. When that goes away, that's PM. Okay. So you're in AM, 11 AM, 10 AM in the morning. We go to 12 midnight, 1 at night. That little dot is gone. So that's one thing you have to be aware of, is that little small little dot represents AM. Okay? Push it again, and there's my minutes. How many minutes it is. Then I push it again, and there's your filter cycles, just like I explained at the beginning of the video. Except for 2 hours, you can go in half-hour increments. Same with filter cycle number 2. Okay, now this represents economy mode. So right now the 1 says it's enabled, 0 is it's disabled. If it's on 0, you won't see it at the main screen. You'll just see water temperature and time. since I enabled it, you'll see economy mode when it goes into economy mode. Okay, so I enabled it. Now I want to say when I want it to start. Now economy mode is good so that when the customers has a spa set up right by their bedroom at night, they can turn it into economy mode, which means it's not gonna go into a filter cycle, or it'll override filter cycle, or it won't sample for the temperature setting for every 90 minutes. So it's basically going to quiet down so the customer can sleep through the night, and then no jets or anything will turn on. So we went out of it by accident, so we're going to go back in again. Again, there's my time. Don't forget the AM and the PM. My minutes. Filter cycle 1, filter cycle 2. Economy mode is on. Okay, now turn it off or on. Now the start time, same thing here. That little dot means it's going to start at 11 in the morning, AM. If I want it to start at night, it's going to start at 12 p.m. or 1 in the morning. So remember, that dot starts, that's AM. Without it is PM. So I'm going to bed at, let's say, 9 o'clock. Okay, that means I'm going to have it start at 9 o'clock. Now, I want it to go for 10 hours of sleep. Okay, or I want to sleep for 8 hours. Okay, that's the duration it stays on. Okay, so it's going to start 9, and it's not going to sample the water until every 90 minutes, and it won't turn any heat on unless it drops below 20 degrees. It basically keeps it quiet. Now we're going back into the set menu. And since I set the economy mode for at 9 o'clock at night, it's not in economy mode, so that's why you don't see economy mode. All you're going to see is the clock and the water temperature. When it kicks in the economy mode, you're going to see the ECO, like when we first started. Okay? Okay, so now we're going to talk about the single pump panel. This panel operates exactly the same as the 2 pump. The only difference is that you don't have a second pump. So you have pump 1, which gives you low speed and high speed. So you push it on high speed, on the low speed. Okay? Filter cycle is on, so that's where we're on low speed. Then you have the light button. Same exact function. Push the light once, you'll get a light color, whatever the last color was. Push the light button multiple times, you can go through individually through the color sequence of the lights. Then once you get to purple, just hold it and let go, and it'll automatically go into the wheel. Now this is what's different here. Now this used to be the light button on pump 2, but now you have a mode button. This is the same thing now, how you're going to get into your filter cycles and your Fahrenheit to Celsius. So you just push it and you hold it down. Now you're on filter cycle number 1. Now remember, it's coming to you at 1 hour from us at the factory. And you're going to push and hold it down. It's going to go into filter cycle number 2. And that's going to come to you at a half hour. Okay? And then you're going to push and hold it down. And you're going to get Fahrenheit or Celsius. Okay? And now you're back in there again. The lock, remember there's a partial lock and then there's a full lock. A partial lock is like locking the temperature. The full lock is the whole entire panel. Same thing as the other one. Plus and minus button, hold it down. Now you got a partial lock. So that means that we are locked out. We cannot change our temperatures. Now to get out of it, you're going to push and hold them down. Now I'm unlocked. Now I can change my temperature. Now I want to do the full lock, same thing. Push and hold it down. Partial lock. Keep holding it down. Now I got a full lock. I can't turn anything else on, it's locked. Want to get out of it, same thing. Plus or minus. Hold it and it'll unlock. Now I'm unlocked. So that's basically the difference between the 1 pump and the 2 pump. Again, you're going to see a mode button on the 1 pump The mode button is actually the light button on the tube pump. Everything else exactly the same. Okay, so that concludes the features of the one pump and the two pump Gecko control panel. As you know, there's really not much difference between the one pump and the two pump. Only difference is the one pump has a mode button that allows you to get you into submenus, and the two pump has the light function, which is also the mode button. One thing I want to talk about too is the smart winter mode. That icon showed up at the very beginning when we powered up. It kind of looks like a snowflake. That's going to show up whenever it's going into freeze protection. So if there's any reason why it's dropped below the set temperature or 80 degrees, that will come on with the low speed pump and the heater, and it won't shut off until the tub gets back up to temperature. And that should be the end of it, and thank you very much. Goodbye.